All right, so here's what I'll be honest to you, this is kind of all new to Jeff and I and Haley. Jeff and I talked about a week and a half ago, and we kind of come up with this idea, and basically we're just going to kind of give you the rundown of what we want to do. We feel like when you get entrepreneurial minds in a room, it will spark ideas. And now more than ever, we want to spark ideas for our local businesses in a way that they can create revenue, maybe revenues and new sources to help them keep going during these times. We know that things are about to get open back up. People are still going to have to change the way they do business. So this is basically like a free think tank for any business that's in the Upper Cumberland, because we want to help you. We want you to let you know that there's help out there. As you can see, if you use the chat feature, drop down, there are contact info for myself, for Jeff Brown, Michael Aikens, Tiffany, Andrea. Any of those people reach out. We would be happy to set up one-on-one meetings with you any way that we can do. So here's kind of where this sparked the idea to do. So I'm just going to give you a couple examples, and then what we'll do is we'd like to open up the chat feature to anyone that has questions, or if you have a business idea or you're just struggling, list it in the chat, and then Jeff will go through and make sure you're unmuted, and then we'll kind of go that way. This is scheduled for an hour. If it goes past an hour, that's great. So don't think we have to be in a rush. We can take our time. So let's just get started. I'm Tyler Asher. I'm the new director for the Small Business Development Center here at the Upper Cumberland Development District. Of course, I'll let Jeff introduce himself if he wants to take that away.
Yes, so I'm Jeff Brown. If you don't know me, I'm the president and CEO of the Biz Foundry Entrepreneur Center. And if you don't mind, I'll introduce the rest of my team. Tiffany's on here. Tiffany's the one that does all the work and tells me where to go. And Haley does all our communications and design and website and all those kind of things. And then if you don't know, we're part of the Launch Tennessee network across the state. So one of their board members emeritus, Tom Ballard out of Knoxville, has joined us. So he's the brains of the group that's on here. And we also have Melissa Halsell, which is the economic development and is a big supporter of entrepreneurship and small business with TVA. So
can you unmute Michael Aikens if you want to introduce yourself and your staff?
Now I have Michael right where I want him, so let's leave it there.
Well, thanks, Jeff and Tyler. So my name is Michael Aikens. I work at Tennessee Tech University, and joining me today is Andrea Kruska. Together, we run the Center for Rural Innovation at Tennessee Tech, and we are very connected at the hip with the Biz Foundry and the Small Business Development Center in helping to businesses to improve in the Upper Cumberland. We offer a wide variety of services called technical assistance, and that typically manifests in the form of student internships and student workers. So we are actually funded by a federal grant from the Economic Development Administration that allows us to pay students $12 an hour or identify students that need academic credit, and we actually infuse those students into your businesses to help you with a wide variety of needs that you may have. And that could range from anything to social media, to product photography, to human resources help. Really, if you need help with something, we can find a qualified student to help you with. And then, of course, we also work, like I said, with and very closely with the Small Business Development Center and the Biz Foundry to make that happen. So if you all need anything, please feel free to reach out to myself or Andrea, and we can talk more.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Thanks, Jeff. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Let's start giving some ideas, and I will tell you where some of this kind of transpired and what we want to bring to this Zoom Up Your Revenue Day. So probably Monday, I think it was, and many of you may have seen, Jeff and I were talking about this morning. Right now, more than ever, people are at home, their kids are at home, so finding a way to get them to buy into things so that they can purchase and do as a family, I feel like it is phenomenal. Someone that has kids, it's great. So if the owners from Ralph Donuts are on this call, like, let me give you kudos, because what you did with the build your own donuts and the kids is genius. I will tell you, that was something Jeff and I talked about. That was a great way to innovate the business of Ralph Donuts and get things for your family to do. So kudos to you guys for thinking of something like that, because my wife texted me and said, go buy and get these so that our kids can have this to do. And it also helps stimulate the economy. And let's be real, who doesn't love Ralph Donuts? So if I was Big O's, I would be doing the exact same thing or something similar to that. Also, for instance, right now, family size meals for restaurants are huge. We did one last night from O'Charlie's. Saturday night, we did one from Romo's. There are people that are in hip Cookville, hip Crossville. They're looking for businesses to do those family style meals. So if there's a restaurant owner on here, I would highly encourage you to consider doing something along those lines. Jeff, what was it we talked about last week? It was it a cooking class?
Yeah, so one of the things we've run into is people are cooking at home, they're baking bread, they're making cookies. So if you're in that business, could you charge $20 to do a cupcake or a baking class and do it online? And any different ways you can come up with to get revenue right now, right? Because we know probably is that not even in the next month are we going completely back to normal. So, are we going to have restaurants full of hundreds of people in the next 3 weeks? No, I don't think we're going to see that at all. So we got to be creative and spend some time thinking about working on our business and ideas and not just in it. And so anything you can come up with that's creative is better than trying to figure out what to do with an empty building, right?
Absolutely. And I will tell you, if you struggle with innovation or technology, I saw there are people on this call that we will be happy to get you introduced to get your website fixed, or if you need social media help. There are people out there that will be willing to help you to take that next step for your business in any shape, form, or fashion. We're all in this together, so please don't think if you're a business owner, you're all alone. If you need help with the upcoming PPP loans or any of the EIDL funds via tornado or even the COVID-19, make sure you reach out to me or Jeff. We're working with local places, so I just wanted to make sure that was out there. If you need help with that or don't understand it, please reach out to us. We've read it. I'm in multiple Zoom meetings with the SBA. It's, things are constantly changing, so please feel free to reach out to us. So now I'd like to open it up to any of our participants that are on here. If you have an idea, if you are struggling with something at your business, let's go in the chat feature. Just type in, hey, I have something to share, and we'll let Jeff get you unmuted, and you can throw it out here.
Well, and quickly, if I can get Kelly Fitzpatrick to unmute, so Kelly has done a kind of make yourself kit with her business, Lenny and Eva. So I'd like for her to speak to that and just kind of tell you what she did, because that was the kind of quick change we're talking about.
Yeah. So about 80% of our business is wholesale, and we do sell a product. So that's different, I know, from some of the other businesses here. But when about 80% of our business went away because we were selling to brick and mortar boutiques who had to close because they're non-essential, we were receiving some orders in from our website, but it was a very minimal amount. So we kind of looked around at the resources that we had here, and I think that's what made this work for us. We couldn't make face masks, but if we had been a clothing manufacturer, we would have most definitely started manufacturing face masks. What materials do you have there on hand that you can create something that's a little bit different, that answers to what people can do during this time and want to entertain themselves with? So we had obviously lots of beading and jewelry supplies. So we put together these DIY bracelet kits, and they've been a huge hit. And we didn't have to go out and purchase any new materials or implement any kind of new production or anything like that. It was just kind of exactly what Ralph's Donuts did. You have donuts, you have sprinkles, and you have frosting. How can I make this work for my audience now? And who knows, this may be something we keep around forever because people really seem to be enjoying it.
Absolutely. And you guys, I know you and Lindsay, you guys have kids, so you guys understand the importance of involving your kids in things of that nature. This is where you can spend the extra quality time with your kids. Cause I promise you in 5 or 10 years, we're going to look back and be like, do you remember we had COVID-19 and we got to build those bracelets or build our donut? They're going to remember that. So if there's a way that a business can innovate and bring things in as a family element, I think it is massive right now.
Agree.
So
Yeah.
I just got one question. It's kind of private, but it's kind of like resources and those kind of things. So that's why I was late getting logged on is I was talking to a bank whose underwriters on the PPP program were not including health insurance premiums, and they were just wrong. So I called Tyler early this morning and I said, okay, back me up here. And so, you know, there's some things like that going on. But we just did a little survey and I put on there, please go to our website. We're going to keep that survey open. So, you know, some of the questions, so just to update you a little bit, this may not have to do with innovation, but real quickly, you know, what we're all worried about is getting reopened. So I do have conversations. The CEO of Launch Tennessee is on the governor's task force. So we are having a lot of conversations with them over what this next week is going to look like. So I will say, and Tom Ballard will agree, that they have put a lot of thought and brain power into this, and they will be coming out with the next 3 or 4 days with recommended ways to open different businesses and different industries. And so I think everybody's going to be pretty happy with it. But we saw in our survey that most small businesses seem to say they can open up and still maintain social distancing and employee and customer safety. So that was a good sign that I think a lot of people were assuming that the small businesses were not ready for that. So that was a really interesting, good sign that everybody thinks they can at least get open in some form and still maintain safety as needed to. So anyway, interesting find there.
Absolutely. I guess I'll go ahead and get the elephant out in the room. If there's a way we can figure out to help our hairstylists out so people like me can get haircuts, that would be phenomenal if we could find a way to help them get back to work. Because Jeff and I are a lot alike.
And not a big problem for me, but yeah.
We had some questions on the side. All right. If you guys want, we'll open it up. If you guys have questions or stuff you need help with, let's go ahead and put them in chat, or we don't have a raise your hand feature on Zoom, I don't think.
No, we do not.
All right, Josh, looks like Josh gave us a thumbs up.
So another thing we will be doing, so you've got mine and Tiffany's contact information and Tyler's and Michael. So I guess I shouldn't speak for them too, but we will be scheduling, if you want to do this privately, that we get a couple of mentors or some experts on the phone with you. We'll start doing 30-minute to 1-hour blocks that we can kind of get mentors and people to talk about this on one-on-one too. So we'll try to get all that stuff out today, but you can always email us or call us. Everybody in the world has mine and Tyler's cell phone number anyway, so don't be afraid to call or text us. It may be a little while before we get back with you according to how the day's going, but all right.
So let's just, we'll try to keep the conversation and get it started. Jeff, let's say that you are a small business and you are in let's say the construction industry. And someone approached you, what would be the number one thing to consider? And about that time, Miss Lisa sends us a message. So let's hold that. Miss Lisa, is there a way to leverage the Made Here market audience? Do something with that effort. Jeff?
I wish we knew the answer to that, and I need to unmute Tiffany and see if she wants to chime in here. Certainly on the vendor side, there is, that's a little tougher to do, I think, probably on who would be. So Made Here Market is the market we do for locally made products, of course, which we had to cancel. It was originally scheduled for, it would be this Saturday, I guess, right, Tiff?
Yeah.
So we had to cancel because of COVID. Obviously, we had about a little over 4,000 people there last year, so that does not fit the current social distancing guidelines.
As Haley just said, it's actually postponed until September 19th at the moment. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll be able to have it then, but yeah, we're crossing our fingers. I do notice that Kelly and Lindsay were raising their hands at that question.
Oh, hello.
We had one of our retail partners ask us to do a virtual trunk show with them. Actually, it started out, they wanted us to just send them product and they were going to do a Facebook Live trunk show. And then we decided, why not just partner with our brands to do this? So we're going to host a virtual trunk show. We're going to showcase the product. This is going to be streamed on Facebook Live, and so people can comment and make purchases there. So I don't know if that's something that the vendors could, if you hosted a virtual pop-up market or a Facebook Live event. Yeah. And then, so one of our groups that we work with did a virtual pop-up market, but it's a pre-recorded video. That would be one option. Or if everybody just went live, then if you wanted to purchase something, then you could just comment, and then the transactions would still take place between that maker and the person purchasing it. But definitely think it's something that could be done online.
Yeah, maybe we could be, if nothing else, just a matchup site, right? If there's a way to do that even, so.
Looks like
I did, in researching that, we did see that you can stream a Zoom call live on Facebook. So I think that's how we're going to handle it. And we're just going to set up a Zoom call with that retail store. So they would be on the Zoom call and we would be on the Zoom call, but then we're streaming it live on Facebook.
Yeah, maybe we could do something where you present your product or whatever for a minute.
Yeah.
And live stream it. So.
Yeah, I definitely think that is an option for us. The idea had been mentioned to us to make like a website, like an e-commerce site for our people, but we didn't, it was going to be a lot to have us handling the money going out and, all that kind of stuff. So that wasn't something that we were interested in, but I like the idea of us hosting a Zoom call. We've also, Stonecom is doing, for those who are business owners on this call, Stonecom is doing a thing called Shop Therapy. And I know one of our massage therapists that we worked with ended up doing it. And so they give them like a half-hour slot and they talk to them about their business and about their product, what their services are. And so we sent that out to all of the vendors for Made Here Market, hoping that would help them kind of at least put their products out there.
So Lisa Urich, I've unmuted her. She was raising her hand. So.
Well, I think what you're doing here is fantastic because in the cancellation of some large conferences that I was scheduled to speak at, we're now launching a series nationally in the absence of that. It's canceled for the whole year. That is supercharging in the suspension. So it's about how to do visual displays and some of the same things that I was planning on contributing to the Made Here Market. Visual displays for online marketing, visual displays for in-store marketing, thinking through reopening, like your flow and your approach and your touch points and those kind of things. And so I think this series that you started is a perfect place to maybe bring those kinds of ideas in for the makers themselves. And I don't know, that I love what you're doing, and I think I think there's an opportunity to leverage that big group that you put together, whether supporting each other like you're initiating here, or doing something that brings in audiences like Kelly illustrated. So.
Yeah, so whoever assigned me to drive the mouse on this, that was probably not a good idea. I start listening to the conversation and quit doing that. So,
okay, we can blame Haley for that.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let's see. I think Mary, I'm trying to go through these chats. Here's a question, direct sales. Mary Stanton said, will you have suggestions for direct sale businesses?
So I'm assuming you're talking about direct sales of,
You want
you know,
to,
Avon, whatever, those kind of things. Is that correct?
Mary, you want to unmute Mary?
If I can find Mary. There she is.
All right, Mary.
There we
Hi,
go.
yes, I'm here.
Uh,
Hey, yeah, I work with a company called H2O at Home. It's a party plan business like Pampered Chef. And I was just curious if you have any thoughts or suggestions for those types of businesses.
Well, it's kind of, and this is going to get a bit redundant, but you know, I think again, hosting the party online is what you're going to have to do for a while. I mean,
Right.
it's just, again, we know this stuff is tough, folks, and part I wanted to tell you what we love doing this is Tyler and I get feedback from you guys, so because we don't know everything, and I've always said the Biz Foundry is really good at swapping good ideas from other people, with permission, by the way. But those kind of things, I think that's what you're looking at for a while. Do I think maybe in a month or so you could still do groups of less than 10? I don't know. I mean, that's a business decision, right?
Right.
But I think that's what you're going to have to do is host them online. So a question I want to ask, and everybody can respond, are most of you pretty good at using Zoom, have a Zoom account, or some other kind of online meeting software?
Right. Yeah, I have a Zoom account and I've used it a little bit. And our company is training us for doing virtual parties. I was just curious if you had any further suggestions.
Mary, one
Yes.
thought for me is that I know that with in-home parties, the big pull is to touch the products or feel the products or be able to interact with whatever products they are.
Right.
Show demonstrations is something that you can do online, but so maybe drop a bag of products off to whoever the host of that party is, and that they can kind of, you know, interact with the products as well during, so that people can see, you know, of course you love the products, you're selling them. So
Right.
to have somebody else interact, or maybe even a random guest, hey, this is, you know, my display samples, I'll drop this off so you can interact with it during the party and then drop it off at the end, you know, go pick it up after or whatever. So
That's a cool idea. All right. Thank you.
Not a problem. This is what we designed. This is what we were hoping to do. We want to create as much interaction as we can. If you need help with, now, if I leave someone out, I sincerely apologize. Lindsay Bruce can help you. She's fantastic at her Instagram stuff. I'll give her props. She does some amazing stuff on Instagram. I saw Randy Robbins was on here, Chris McCulley. They're great for website, anything of that. They're going to be the go-to. They do some great stuff. So if you want to reach out to those people, if you're having trouble in those areas, those would be the people to reach out to.
And if you want to, if everyone would email Tyler and Michael and I, we can do online classes on almost anything. We've got people, if we need to do a Zoom class, if we need to do a Shopify class, or again, we need feedback from you guys about what kind of things. I mean, obviously we can't cover 100 topics, but what's out there that we could do, you know, some hour, 2 hour kind of programs that really help you guys, that we're not guessing what you need. We need to hear from you.
Ooh, I'm going to put her on the spot. She's probably going to kill me for this. Lindsay, can we unmute Kelly? Let's bring Lindsay on here. Lindsay, give us some.
I'll unmute Kelly, but not Lindsay.
Well, listen, I've known Lindsay for a long time, so I'll probably get thrown under the bus. Lindsay, I love what you do on Instagram. If you could give someone 2 major tips right now on how to boost stuff on Instagram, maybe increase their likes, what would be your 2 main tips you'd give someone right now for Instagram? She's still muted.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. I definitely would not be concerned with the number of likes necessarily, but I would just make sure that your voice and the way that you're talking to your customer is really intentional in what they are looking for or their need at the moment. It's not about selling your product. It's about connecting with their need and what they're looking for. So we sell jewelry, for example, but when a lot of our voice online is not necessarily selling the product itself, but it's selling the gift, the thoughtfulness of the gift, or in presenting, this piece and the connection that you're going to make with that person when you sell it. So that would be, I would say, the number one thing to make sure that you're doing online is you don't want to sound salesy. Like, this should be a connection of why someone would benefit and what use they're going to get out of whatever it is that you're selling.
Absolutely. See, I knew Lindsay would be on point. I like the idea. And I promise that's not from myself. That's actually from Megan Schote, her office is directly behind me, and she just used my Zoom login. I like the idea. If you could, I think right now, if there's a way you can connect with people, especially in cooking at home, because that is something that everybody, you're either eating out right now through takeout or you're cooking at home. I think that's huge to find a way to include that audience. I mean, like I said, we did takeout last night, but we've cooked a lot at home lately. So if there's any way, I don't know if there's a way you could start a online, I saw it is if you could start like an online, I don't know, I saw them do recipes, but if I was in the restaurant business right now, I would be trying to do like a cooking class. If you like something that I have, bring it, here's what we're doing. Here's how I cook whatever. Here's the shopping list you're going to need to do this. I know it's still cooking at home, but it's something that you probably miss if you like somebody's barbecue sandwich or someone's, fajitas. So those are some ideas that we had. Miss Kelly?
Another thing is to recognize the value in your email subscriber list. We did something really early on. We created some coloring pages that was a free download. And in order to get the coloring page, all you had to do is put your email in there. That didn't convert immediately to a sale for us, but now we're able to continue email marketing to that customer, and hopefully at some point they do purchase something from us. But sharing a recipe, a download, or some digital product that you can share with them in exchange for their email address is really valuable. I would definitely do some recipe downloads, or anything that they can download and you get an email, then it's a win-win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so are there many people out there on here, and again, you can answer in the messaging, that are more manufacturers or wholesalers or other people? So I would just like to know an answer to that of the crowd that's here. I just think, again, part of what Tyler and I have been saying, we're hearing, because we will actually call people when we see they're doing something cool, and we're hearing people replace a ton of income with these ideas. Because like I say, that Tiffany will buy anything that helps entertain her kids at home right now, basically, right? So it's just those kind of things are huge right now. And I just really would encourage all of you, if you're any kind of, and if you're in retail, so you're selling hard items is another thing. We all tend to get caught in this idea of we need 50 different things that we're trying to sell. Man, go back and look at your sales over the last couple of years. And if you got 3 or 4 things that are huge sellers, then exploit that, right? It's way easier to market 3 things that you know are good sellers than it is to try to market 50 things.
Absolutely.
Going back to what Lindsay said a second ago too, is that she was kind of talking about the brand voice. I think during this time, don't underestimate the value of just being compassionate and telling people you understand where they're at or where they're coming from. Not every single post or every single thing that you do needs to be selling yourself. It can be just, I understand where you're at, and, you know, sharing other resources, just being on top of mind for people that, oh yeah, I saw something that was shared. Oh yeah, it was from, you know, Lenny and Eva. They posted some other resource or whatever. Just making sure that you're still on top of people's mind there's a huge value in that.
Absolutely. And I get into that point too of not trying to always pitch. As someone who owned a former business, I always tried to create posts where it wasn't always being a sales. It might be an inspirational quote on something, or something that Ralph's Donuts is doing, like you said, or Lenny and Eva is doing, or the city of Cookeville, or wherever you're at is doing this. It really helps keep your traffic up as well. So we haven't got any new questions. Let's do this. Randy, are you there? Randy, give us one, you're in the website mode or doing something. Give us one good tip you might use if you were talking to a business, or that a business owner is on here right now that they need to add to their website, or so what's the one tip you would give somebody right now?
I'd say especially for small business, brick and mortar businesses, make sure and utilize your Google My Business. Make sure your hours are there. Make sure you've got information there of how they can contact you, things like that, because that's going to be the number one place where potential customers are going to find you to start with.
Yeah, so I had an article sent to me this morning to follow up on that, is that restaurants trying to deal with curbside and delivery, but they hadn't changed their website. It doesn't even show it. Guys, you got to update your website almost daily right now, and this kind of thing. I thought that was, I had not thought of that, but we're all guilty of it. But, you know, they were trying to do curbside, and their online menu still showed a choice of 50 things, and they only have 10 choices curbside. And so I thought that was a really good tip, Randy.
All right, I'm going to ask Michael. Michael Aikens.
I'm here.
Yeah, there he goes. Michael, give us one good tip. Of course, you already put it over here in the thing. What's the one thing, if you were meeting with a business owner right now, the one good tip you would give them right now?
One good tip I would give them is to remember that this is not going to last forever, and that look for silver linings, that this is not all doom and gloom. I would say that I know that it's not easy for every business or any business through this, but I would recommend that as you are learning new things, like learning how to use Zoom or Teams or whatever product or project management system that you're learning to use because of this, think about in the future how you can use it to your advantage. So I'll give you a perfect example with over at Tennessee Tech. I've never used Microsoft Teams before this. I've always been aware of it, but never really had any reason to use it. Well, it turns out that it is a fantastic system that you can use to do project management, to collaborate with your employees, to develop documents, so on and so forth. And I'm not necessarily saying that you need to use Teams per se, but what I'm saying is that go and look for, if you haven't found something already, if you are kind of struggling with project management or something of the like, look for a software that you can use. There's a lot of free things out there. And look and see how you can, one, utilize this to your benefit to help you through this crisis, but also think to the future of what are those silver linings of how we can use it. Because, for example, with my Teams example, we're going to be heavily utilizing Teams beyond all this COVID stuff once it's a distant memory. So a couple things that I would recommend is learn how to use Zoom. If you haven't already, I think most people have, but if you haven't, reach out to us, let us know. We're more than happy to help you learn that and get up to speed. If you would like some assistance on Microsoft Teams, if that's something that you've been looking at, I became an overnight expert on it and have some training material ready and available and some videos that you can watch. About 30 minutes to an hour, you can get up to speed and create your own. It's fantastic for communication and collaboration. And then there are a lot of other free software out there, like, for example, Asana, Airtable, and a few others that you can use for project management. So that is something that you can use virtually with your team. But once you move past this, if you haven't been using a project management system, I would highly encourage you to do so, because those will, in fact, change your business life. Andrew and I live and die by Asana. It's our project management system of choice. So if you'd like more information about those, please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask Melissa to chime in because she watches everything and see if she's run across some cool ideas and see what she might see we could steal from her area outside of Nashville. So, hi, Melissa.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
I'm well.
So kudos on this event. I think it's great. I think across the valley, I'm seeing these kind of things all over. And I guess what I think from my perspective that businesses need to do is figure out a few people that just become your pivot team. It doesn't have to be formal. It's just a small group of people that have your best interest at heart and want to be with you during this time, because everybody's pivoting, personally, professionally. So if you can come together with this small group of folks that have your best interest at heart and want to help you pivot, and like you're having this big discussion today, that small group, maybe you talk with them on a Zoom call once a week or every couple of weeks about what they're seeing. If they have your business top of mind, then hopefully they'll be feeding you the kind of things that they see might take you to the next level. So that would be my suggestion right now.
Cool. Thanks, Melissa.
Hey, Jeff, can I tag on to that?
Sure.
This is Megan Choate. Sorry, I didn't register in time to have.
I know who that voice is. I should have introduced you, Megan. I'm sorry.
It's not me. Don't worry.
Is not Tyler Asher's other personality. I just wanted to tag on to what Melissa was saying. That was kind of one of the suggestions that I had is opening, your audience or asking your audience, because I had a conversation with Tyler about, and I was, I guess, being Debbie Downer and trying to figure out, and feeling like there are some businesses that just can't pivot or can't find another solution in this. And I was proven wrong. One of the examples we were talking about was gymnastics. And I was like, if you can't physically be there, how can you do gymnastics? And I was quickly educated that they were doing online classes and that these, students were getting to call in and see their instructor or see their classmates. And I don't know the details of how that was working, but it was a quick lesson to me in that just because I can't necessarily think of a certain way to innovate or change doesn't mean the idea is not out there. So I would definitely recommend what Melissa was saying of asking people in your circle or asking your audience, using social media, using some of your contacts, and let other people kind of help you figure out how they want to receive your product or your service, or how they recommend that you innovate, because this is definitely going to be a time of innovation for every business. And it's just not something that we have to do alone.
Yeah, so one of our board members, his daughter has a large dance school here in Cookeville, and she had been wanting to do online classes, but had never taken the time. And I mean, it has exploded. She's doing really well.
We are members of that dance studio, and you would think, I mean, I've said this about Lenny and Eva as well. You would think that this was so seamless for them, that this was their plan, is just to like go online and do new things,
So they were meeting with the Chinese to help spread the virus. Is that what
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus like that, but I think your voice, that's again with your voice, is that whether or not you're going to say, oh, I guess, during these hard times, we have to blah, blah, blah. Like Lenny and Eva's message has never been that. It's just been, here's this new product, it's a great product. And the dance studio has been the same exact way. Like, okay, we're just doing these online classes. They figured out how to have a dance concert, so how to do that with social distancing, and they're gonna do this whole big video thing. And so you would think just because of their mindset and the attitude, that this is what they wanted. So I think that's really important as business owners, is to put that positive vibe on things and not like we have to pivot, or, oh, I guess, we'll have to figure out things. It's that positive attitude really can spread far.
I would also add, now is a great time to make sure that you are if you own a small business, now is the time to make sure you're using YouTube to your full advantage. YouTube right now is the most undersought after social media platform. YouTube has surpassed Google on how to. So if you are not using YouTube, you are missing out. Hey, Chris McCulley, I'm not meaning to throw you under the bus, but I'm going to bring you into this. I know you've been doing some work with that. We've done some stuff at church. Give us just a quick little tidbit of advice to a business owner integrating their stuff, Facebook, YouTube. I'm pretty sure you're still here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Chris.
So integrating their stuff for Facebook and YouTube into the business is
absolutely. What would be the one tip that you would make sure that if a small business owner reached out to you and said, "Hey, I need help with this," what are you going to tell them?
From a technical side, I mean, first thing is, I think just do it. I think some people are so scared, they're so uncomfortable with technology, especially when it comes to video stuff. From what I've seen in the past with people doing video work, is they get very nervous in front of the camera. But don't be scared to try it. I mean, I think we get stalled so easily about stuff that kind of we're fearful of, or for things we've never tried before. So I would say just try it. Just go out there and do it. Your customers will respond to you. When you put it out there, they're going to respond to you. So we have to kind of push past the uneasiness and the nervousness of it and just go out there and try it. I mean, Facebook Live is so easy now. The things that we can do now from our mobile devices, from anywhere, it's pretty amazing the time we live in. I couldn't imagine doing this kind of stuff 15 years ago as a business owner. How different would it have been back then when we didn't have the access to the internet that we have now with our customers. So my suggestion is just, the biggest thing I see is people just get stalled because they're uncomfortable with it. And now's the time as ever just to kind of force ourselves to do it and to get uncomfortable and learn how to use the technology and reach out to people. I mean, you see all the people on this call, there's people everywhere just to reach out. If you don't know something, it's okay to ask for help. I mean, people love to help people. And one of the things I've seen with this is I've had clients that have emailed me because they're having to learn so many things at one time. They're trying to do so many things very quickly. And so the biggest thing I've seen that I can offer my customers is I've been using Zoom to record my screen. And hey, here's how you go update this part of your website. Here's how you go because I had a client who was emailing me 3 or 4 times a day. And so I just said, I spent like an hour making some videos and sent it to him and said, hey, here's how you do it. If you need me, call me. So like, especially for service-based businesses, this is the time where we really serve our customers, right? Because they've got so much going on. So this is the time we can actually serve them.
And if you want to do, I'll give you a quick little insight. Is it Vidyard? It's a Google Chrome extension. It's free. You can actually go in there and do it. You can record your screen. You can talk over it. You can actually go into a icon down at the bottom and still show your picture, and you can show people how to do things. So that's a free one. It's called Vidyard. Vidyard, I believe it is. It's a Google Chrome extension. It's a great little tidbit to add. Look like Melissa.
Yeah, just wanted to add one thing, Tyler. Don't limit yourself to the age of people that you ask for help from. There are a lot of high schoolers out there, there are elementary kids out there, there are all ages of this young talent out there. And if that is part of your customer base, or could be, ask them what they think, ask them their ideas, bring them to the table as well, because they've got, a lot of them are so innovative, and there's just some really cool things going on all over the country to see some of the things some high schoolers are putting together and that kind of thing. So don't limit yourself to a certain age. Jump in with some of those young folks. I know and I can't remember the company right now, but they up in New York, and this is before this even happened, they had their own board of directors, but they also have a kids board of directors because they have products that they are trying to, get the new kids on board and all. So they have their own kids board of directors too. So yourself to any ages of who can be your advisors. Because today we we can all be teachers, but we can all be learners too. So.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing, Melissa. Yeah, if we could get people to line in our chat feature, if you want to guys start putting your name and what your business is, I think that would help us maybe start reaching out and getting different people's inputs. I'm just going on people I know on here. That's what I've been, that's what we've been doing. Of course, as we said at the first of this phone call, this is all new for all of us. So I apologize for not flowing, having some type of flow to it. But we're I promise you, we're just trying to help in any way that we possibly can.
One of the things Tyler and I talked about when we started this idea is we want to move past the doom and gloom. Whether you agree, disagree with what has happened, doesn't matter. It has happened. So how do we move past this idea of, oh, I'm dying here, and start getting things moving again? And part of it is just doing things like this. This may not be fun, but the one thing we know doesn't help is sitting around crying over spilled milk. Is that we always tell people at the Biz Foundry, we have a 24-hour cry rule when something bad happens. You get to feel sorry for yourself for 24 hours, and then we're going to help pick you up and slap you around and get up and start working on it again. So that's really what Tyler and I wanted to accomplish, is start changing this narrative of the sky's falling and we're all going to be out of business, because that's just not true. Entrepreneurs always figure out a way. So.
Oh, Sandy, I'm glad you're on this phone call, because that was an ingenious idea. Actually, I tell you what, Jeff, Sandy, if you want to, why don't you guys talk about just some of maybe the creative ways you guys have been, what you've been doing at Rouse since you took it over, if that's okay.
Except I have to find Sandy. That's the problem. Right?
You can unmute yourself, Sandy.
Okay.
There you go.
Hi. So yeah, this is my first time joining on to something like this, and I am the new owner at Ralph's Donut Shop. We just took over back in January, and pretty much since I got here, I've just been trying to learn the business, because I have zero experience in business. I came from the corporate world, and so this is a lot different than what I'm used to. So I just pretty much try to learn from all of our staff, and I've got pretty much the ordering down. I don't know how to make a donut, but I do know how to love on people, and I just really want to try to upgrade the service at Ralph's, that you have a really good experience. I want to create an atmosphere where it feels like you come home when you walk in. And I don't know, I love Cookeville. I love the opportunity to be home all the time, because I had to travel with my previous job. But we're really trying to hone in on consistency of the donuts on our product. And I'm not looking to change anything, especially for the first year. I just want to try to learn from everybody that I can, and then tweak things to see if it could be ran just a little bit better or more efficiently, pretty much. So that's it.
And we got the children's homemade donuts, the children's kit.
Yeah.
And I want to say that the customer service was amazing, because I didn't know you had to pre-order, so I sent my husband out to get them, and they accommodated and like creatively made a box really quickly. So what you're doing is working, and they were delicious.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sandy, we have to ask the most important question. What's your favorite donut?
You know, I have only had about 4 flavors, the 30 that we have. But my favorite is probably the maple.
Love it. Let me ask you something. So you're new to the ball game. So
Yeah.
You are coming out of this. If you were talking to another business in the same area as you, what's the one advice you would give them?
I would advise them to have good customer service, you know, to remember who you are serving. and especially during this time, you know, it's a privilege that people are choosing to do business with us, because everyone's under a hardship right now. And whether it's emotionally or financially or whatever that looks like, it's just a lot of different times for everybody. So it's a privilege when someone chooses to come to your donut shop or your coffee shop or buy your jewelry or whatever it is. And so I think that letting them know and communicating that heart in whatever way that looks like, how Lindsay said, you know, to strike up a connection on your Instagram, but just to connect your heart with your community.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. I greatly appreciate that.
No problem.
And those kid donuts were a hit at my house. So
awesome. Great.
Let's don't restrict the donut talk to just kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them too. Can't y'all tell?
I had 4 Saturday.
So I'm going through all this. Like I said, this is our very first time, and if you guys don't care to let us know if this is something that you would like to be a part of moving forward. We're trying to bring in other people. We're just, like I said at the beginning, we're all in this together, and all we want to do is just help. We just want to brainstorm ideas, any way we can do to just get you guys thinking in a new direction. I saw where someone posted they were doing telemed. I feel like this is my inbox at the moment.
Yeah, that's
Dr.
me.
Steele, yes. I was looking at your website.
Please call me Kathryn.
Well, if my mom was on here, that would not be allowed to happen. So as a kid growing up, always had to refer it that way. So let's talk about how telemed has, I guess, maybe changed your business, or is it something you've always been doing?
Very good question. So I'm a little bit in the minority in terms of psychologists. We have a lot of great psychologists out there that are more flexible, have a flexible mindset, but we also have a lot of psychologists who just prefer to do things the way they've always done them. I think that might be the case in a lot of different industries, but so I have been doing telehealth, whether it be partly in office and partly remote since 2014 when I was legally able to. So, and I've always been a proponent of telehealth, and I'm actually an SME and certified in offering psychological services via telehealth. So I'm very technological in my practices. I've been using EHR since before insurance required it. I use iPads for administration of testing. What I'm not equipped at, this has been useful just I came on late, was doing, I'd forgotten about Asana, and I should utilize YouTube and Facebook Live more to help me. So that part I'm not good at is the marketing strategy piece and the technology, but the telehealth piece I've got down pat. So when we came back from spring break trip and the pandemic was happening, Safer in Place was happening, I started preparing my employees, and we started making sure we had our processes like more aligned than we ever had before, so that when we started scheduling that it wasn't too much of an interruption. And I've been able to coach, I guess you could say coach or help or consult with psychologists to help them move in that direction as well. And I think somebody made a very good point, call and ask, because people do want to help.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, so it's been exciting.
Go ahead.
Can you
talk to us about how important it is to, I guess, I was trying to find a way to talk about the telemed part and how going forward, do you think that will stay the course of business, or do you see it going back, or?
I think that's the pain point for me because I've used it more so than most people. And I think it's been an industry issue where I've used it for so long, but getting other people to accept it on the other end of that, right? Whether it be clients or patients, depending on whether I'm doing consults or contracts. It's been difficult to get to get different industries and employers to accept it. So I think, not that I want to put anything on our current situation, but it's helped open that door. Now, whether that door will get shut, so to speak, after this is all over, I hope that it leaves a space for both, because there are going to be some circumstances that it still entails being face to face, but I think there are also some circumstances that telehealth is just as well equipped as face-to-face intervention, and it assists with flexibility for employees and or patients, depending on the service type, to get that service delivered more quickly, more efficiently. It's less cost for everyone involved. So
Right.
I hope so. I don't know. That will be the question of the day for sure in the next 8 weeks.
To see it moving forward and going in that direction. Because that was something that
Exactly.
Jeff talked about, is even if you guys are currently a business and this is the way we're doing business now, how can you take it and go forward? Because people have already done it now. It's kind of like Chris talked about earlier. People aren't used to, we've been doing it this way for so long, and now we've had to change. Well, now you finally did it. I'll use the example. My dad did not go to LTAP for the longest time. My dad is a plain Jane, like eats the same thing all the time. We finally got him to go to LTAP one time, and it was like, now he likes to go, and now he tries different, it's opened up a lot of doors. So I feel that going forward, businesses can use this situation to expand what they do and make changes accordingly, if that rings a bell.
Yeah, I agree. So, my wife has had 2 telehealth appointments now, and I promise you, she's not going back to the old way. She absolutely loves it. And so, I think we're going to see more of that. So I'm going to throw a question over to Tom Ballard. Let me get him unmuted. So Tom knows everybody that ever lived or worked in the Southeast.
And we will get to all the questions I'm going through here. I promise you, we can stay on as long as you want. So
I was going to ask Tom kind of what you're hearing across the state. What good ideas have you heard? And so as you listen to this conversation, what do you think?
Well, I would say, Jeff, first of all, there's one word that I think describes what this conversation is about, what I'm saying, and that's creativity. And that's what you're seeing. The other word that I would describe is community, or the one that I would cite. And I'm seeing more community here than I am in certain other places, although everybody's trying to do their thing. But I've been most impressed with creativity that I've heard here today, as well as others that have done things. And the second thing is how you all are trying to pull together to help the Upper Cumberland region. And to me, that is really inspiring. And everybody does it their own way. If you go back, if you're as old as I am, which I am clearly the oldest person on this Zoom call by a long shot, although I do go to the same barber, I guess, that Jeff and Tyler go to. But you go back to Tip O'Neill, and he said all politics is local. And what you all have been talking about is how you can help each other, how you can leverage each other, how you can leverage the assets that are available in the Upper Cumberland region. And I've seen that. The Technovation.biz, if you don't know, is an 8.5-year-old daily newsletter that I do on technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And so I've written a lot about companies that have pivoted. And there's one that started out trying to get people to figure out how to connect co-workers to connect over lunch. And it's pivoted to a virtual platform to do meetings where you can go, where you can do a meeting, and it's a Knoxville-based organization, incidentally, where you can actually do, they're going to do a virtual happy hour next Tuesday, and you drop in on tables. So you're actually doing networking using a different platform than one that's been talked about here today. It's something you may want to look at. It's called Lunch Pool. You all talked about somebody that did a dance studio. There was the wife of an entrepreneur in Knoxville who lost 3 different sources of income. She was in the opera, she did musical lessons, and she also did yoga. So she started her own yoga program and her own yoga one. Telehealth, you just talked about. There's a company that started in Knoxville that's now a national Anytime Pediatric. They can't keep up with the growth that's suddenly coming because of parents concerned about that, and on and on and on. So there's a lot of creativity going on around the state, but it is creativity, it's helping others. And the third thing, Jeff, that I would add is it's recognizing what your core is and how you can build on the core. Because if you don't have the core to leverage, then you're probably not going to be successful. Just some thoughts and ideas for what they're worth.
I appreciate that, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Let's go. I promise you we're going through these questions. Natasha, are you on here about telemed? I know that you guys own Sculpting Spa, 20 Degrees frozen yogurt. Man, I would love some frozen yogurt at the moment.
Yes, hi there. I'm on.
Introduce yourself, and then of course chime in. And of course, any of the businesses you guys own, we would absolutely love to contribute.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you all for doing this. Can you all hear me, or there's an echo?
Are you calling in, or?
I'm calling in.
Are you on the computer as well?
Yes, let me see.
You'll have to mute one of them.
All right, here we go.
There you go.
Thank you for hosting this. I'm actually very glad to be on, and actually on my first call with everyone. Back to the telemedicine, we actually had to really get creative with how we could do everything. And I still have an echo going on. So does everyone have an echo on my end or their end?
You're good on this one.
Okay, I can handle the echo on my end. But what I really wanted to focus on was telemedicine is going to be pivotal, but it is also something that most of the community is not going to realize that insurance companies are not embracing as quickly as we would like. So there is a stipulation in which April 30th is the cutoff for some of the insurance companies, and they may extend the deadline. But I know for Medicare, they just created a new code, a reimbursable code. And for rural health clinics, that's something that we are able to do. But some of the other offices or clinics, they may not have the ability to do telemedicine past April 30th, just because it may not be a reimbursable type of visit. With the Sculpting Spa, we are getting very creative. April and May are traditionally very high months, but I'm trying to do it your own kits and getting more creative with Instagram and social media, and just reaching out to previous clients and seeing how we can help them, because I know everyone is strapped right now, and just figuring out how we can really change our business model a little bit to incorporate virtual consultations, mailing, skincare, things of that nature that really help incorporate different aspects. And then of course with 20 Degrees, we launched quite a bit of new things with delivery services, a family pack now, just like Ralph Donuts has done. We really wanted to incorporate more of a family style
I didn't know that. See, I apologize. I didn't know 20 Degrees had a family pack. That's really
We
good to
just
know.
launched it last week.
Okay. That's phenomenal. What about the sculpting spa? How are things there? Is that kind of at a standstill because of where we're at?
Somewhat. We've tried to get a little bit more creative, but it hasn't gone off the ground yet with virtual consultations. That's one thing that I really want to see how we can get more of our clients or different clients more comfortable with doing that. So we may do like an IGTV or YouTube video of what a consultation would entail, or showing what cool sculpting is, or old therapy, or some of the other services. I'm creating a spa package, like a at-home facial with some of our products. So
Awesome.
It's one of those where we're having to get creative, because these services are still people need, but it's just kind of getting the word out there.
Correct. That's phenomenal. I'm glad to see you guys are innovating. That's great. So what I would like to do now is let's open it up to everyone. And if you guys have ideas, you want to chime in. Debbie Hall, yes, I think there's a way we can set something up. If you want to reach out to me after this is over with, we can work on that. I'm a diehard networker, so absolutely we could share leads for sure. So let's go ahead and open it up. I know we've been over an hour. I don't want to keep you guys long because I know we all got to get to work so we can be productive. But if you guys, and also let us know if you guys want to do something like this again on an ongoing basis, we can maybe change the time to better fit. We're open for that, and we will try to bring in more resource partners for you guys as well. So let's open it up. Anybody who wants ideas, input, we'll just try to go one at a time and go from there.
You want me to call out names that we drive the discussion here? So
absolutely. Let's just start calling.
Well, and one of the things, so
listen,
Kelly.
Hey, we're talking about innovating. So now more than ever, you're just going to have to just go with it, right? You start calling people out.
To speak to the comments on community earlier, we're launching something next week, which we're really excited about. We've partnered with 10 other brands in our space. Again, we create a product, we sell jewelry, but we reached out to some of our friends who manufacture other things. So we have a pajama line, some bath and body care, jewelry, travel, luggage, organizers, planners, and we're doing all of this on social media, but we've each created a discount code, and then we're all sharing that, and then we're essentially putting ourselves in front of those 10 brands' audiences. So the possibilities are endless. Whether or not all of those people need our product at this moment, I'm not sure, but at least it's giving us exposure. And I think that's something that could be done on a local level as well. And just looking at the local businesses that are here, definitely community over competition. If you can fit yourself in with some of the other businesses in your space, whether it's the exact same thing that you do or something that complements it, if you can figure out how to work together and share your audiences with each other, then I think it benefits everyone. So we're excited about that. That starts next week for us.
That's awesome. You made a great point. If you can find a way to share ideas. So I'm just going to throw this out there. If 20 Degrees partnered with some restaurant and they offered a family pack, if Ralph's Donuts partnered with, I don't know, another restaurant, offer a family pack, I think that would be fantastic, because then you're also helping jump in front of other people, their audience as well. And so you're just creating that. And I think right now more than ever, it's not so much competition as it is community. And that is something that we want to do, because we are all in this together. Nobody is immune to it. Nobody's not affected by it. So like I said,
that's something too that I think that you could very easily do without having to get all those things together in one place. Like Sandy could just have a coupon code for Soulcraft that she shares, and Soulcraft has a coupon code for Ralph's, or whatever those are. It doesn't have to be all in one place. It can be shared digitally among the audiences.
Absolutely. All right, let's keep going. Or if we've got other ideas, we're all for it.
Hey, I have a question that I need some help with. Our Facebook page, when we purchased Ralph's, the previous owners had a Facebook page, and they had like 3,000 and some likes on that page, and they had shut it down. And I have tried to get ownership of the page, and I've tried reaching out to Facebook multiple times, and I've tried becoming an admin on the page, but they can't remember the password. So I created a new Facebook page. Do you think it is better if I just start from scratch and try to rebuild a new one, or should I continue to try to gain ownership of the previous page? Does it even matter? I mean, I don't know.
We're some of our, I mean, I feel like I have quite extensive knowledge in social media marketing, but Lindsay, you want to chime in on this? Or I know there's 2 or 3 other people I saw that will do social media. So I'm going to one of them answer.
I'll attempt to. I've never tried to recover a lost page. If you've tried and haven't really gotten very far with Facebook, I don't think there's anything wrong with starting a brand new page. I would just do some type of giveaway or something that calls people to come and like your new page, and, you know, select a winner, but have everyone just kind of rally around growing that new audience for you on that Facebook page, and then just keep going. I wouldn't spend a ton of time trying to recover an old page when you could probably gain those 3,000 likes in the time that, you know, you're spending trying to recover this old page.
Okay.
This is, oh, sorry, Lindsay. This is Andrea. The other thing I would add is maybe do some kind of giveaway, you know, a gift card or something, to get some of your reviews back if you can't recover that old page, because the old page had something like 1,000 reviews or something, and now you have 8. So encourage people to review the shop.
Okay.
And I, for one, would be very happy to go in and do that because your donuts are delicious. So.
Any of our other social media, I see the guys that will do a lot of websites. If you guys want to chime in on that, you are more than welcome to.
One thing that's important is whether or not the page is verified or not. So if it's not a verified page, then you can go in and tell it you want to claim it by phone number, and then they'll call that number and claim it that way. But if it's been verified, you'll have a hard time getting it without some kind of access.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think your brand recognition, so everybody knows the Ralph's brand, and it won't, like Lindsay said, it won't take you long to build that up. So I would just start there and not spend too much time trying to chase a monkey with its tail cut off. You know, I mean, it's just, you're going to spend so much time trying to chase that down. It's just not worth it.
Okay.
I do think it'd be worthwhile if we can't get the other one, or if you can't get a claim to the other one, to try to eventually get it closed out, just so that there's no confusion for people looking for your current page.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've tried to stress the importance of either shutting it down or giving me the admin rights to it, just because of that. Because if we do build up the new page, I don't want traffic to ever go to the old one, you know. So.
Yeah, and Sandra, I just sent you a note. We may know someone that can help with that. So I'll give them a call and see.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sure they'll trade out donuts for help.
Yeah.
Anything else before we jump off? And we will try to get with the crew at the Biz Foundry and TTU to, we'll try to get this up and going. I feel like it went well. Maybe we do it at a different time. You know, we'll help out. So anything else? Going once? Twice? All right. we will wrap up there. We will make sure everybody has our contact info so that you can reach out to us. We are here to help you. I promise you we will get through this. This has been awesome. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. And we will schedule another one very soon. So Jeff, thank you. Your crew, you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Michael, the crew over at TTU, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for jumping and chiming on. Guys, thanks for all your
Absolutely.
input. Take care. Like I said, we're here to help you. We can help you one-on-one after this. You guys are awesome. Stay the course. We will get through this.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.